Do you consider yourself a high achiever? Smart, driven, highly successful? I am so excited to have you. My name is Julia Arndt and I'm the host of the Stress Podcast. I will help you develop your stress resilience the same way you've developed your workplace superpowers. Learn peak performance tools to thrive at work and in your personal life. Let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to Stressed. I'm your host, Julia Arndt, and I'm really excited to have you here today to chat with you about why it is sometimes okay to take breaks and to reconsider what you want to do in your life and with your life. In today's podcast episode, I want to make a really important announcement, which is that this is the last podcast episode of 2023. And I honestly don't know yet what my future with podcasting is going to look like. This was an extremely difficult decision for me to make that I have been struggling with over the last couple of weeks, but I have come to the conclusion that sometimes we have to put ourselves in very uncomfortable situations to grow. And taking a break from this podcast is extremely uncomfortable for me because I'm a high achiever and peak performer, and I am proud of who I am and I am proud of my hard work. I am very proud of the self-discipline that I've had over the last 5 years, recording a new podcast episode every single week for 5 years. And it's kind of weighing on me as well that I'm going to break my own streak. But as we all know, pauses and breaks are very empowering in so many different ways. And I have come to the decision that I want to take a break from recording content, not just my podcast, but also my YouTube channel. There's a lot of time and energy and planning and reviewing and money that is going into all of the content that I'm creating for you every single week. And I've honestly always absolutely loved it. I've always loved doing this for you. And at the same time, it is a huge time investment and it is a huge money investment as well. And over the course of the last few weeks, I have become really busy with other parts of my business. And at the same time, I want to create more space for myself. I have been dreaming about taking more time off for myself and my partner and to travel. And last year, if you remember, we went to Mexico for a month and I continued recording all the podcast content and YouTube videos ahead of time in order to keep up with my schedule. This year, that felt really challenging for me. I told myself I have to create at least 12, 15 podcast episodes and videos in order to be able to continue giving you this content. And sometimes we have to be really honest with ourselves, and I had to be really honest with myself. And I had to say to myself, this doesn't really feel aligned at the moment with where I want to go with my business and where I want to go with my own time. And there is nothing to say about loving the fact that I can sit down and I can record these videos and podcasts for you and we can have these personal conversations. But I want to really challenge myself to take this break and see what comes of it. Because I truly believe there's magic from taking space and from really reflecting on how do I want to take this forward. And I'm just gonna give you a little tip already, because I am already thinking about potentially starting a completely new podcast in 2024. So with all of that said, I am super sad that we won't be spending too much time together in fresh episodes over the next 2.5, 3, 4 months. But here are the good news. The good news is that over the last 5 years, I have created over 458 videos on my YouTube channel, and I have created over 230 podcast episodes. So if you just started this journey, if you are curious to learn more about how to build this new workplace superpower that I'm always talking about, how to create more sustainable performance, how to overcome or prevent burnout, how to build habits, how to practice more self-love, self-care, nervous system regulation, all of these topics, there is plenty of content out there for you to still sit with it and to really dive into all of it. And this is exactly what I want to invite you to today. Two things. Number one, maybe this podcast episode inspires you to take a break yourself in some area or the other in your life. It might not be podcasting, but it might be something else that doesn't really feel too enjoyable for you at the moment. Maybe it's a little bit more of a drag and it's a little bit more of a I have to check this box thing versus you're really, really inspired and you're feeling really creative for that particular task. So see this as an invitation to do the same as me, and take a break. Take a break for a month, take a break for 2 months. And if that feels super uncomfortable, ask yourself, why is this so uncomfortable? What are you afraid of? And those are exactly the questions that I had to sit with over the last couple of weeks when I considered this huge step for myself of not producing more content. And I did actually have a conversation with my wonderful editor, Jessica, because I said to her, I don't want to lose you. This is one of my biggest fears. And so we had a really honest conversation about it, and she encouraged me to take this break, which is something that I'm so deeply grateful for, because I am yearning to just fully disconnect for a couple of weeks and see what kind of insights are coming to me. So this is the first thing. As I said, number one, maybe you're using this podcast episode in order to just create some space for yourself as well. Maybe you use my own courage to remind yourself of your own courage, that you can choose and do whatever you want to do. And it might not always be easy, but oftentimes in these more challenging spaces, in these more uncomfortable spaces, lies our freedom and the answer of what is going to happen next. Maybe you use this podcast episode as an inspiration to dive deeper into my content. As I already said, there are so many videos and so many podcasts that I have created over the last 5 years that I'm so proud of. And I honestly, sometimes when I'm working, I sit and I watch one of my YouTube videos. I watch them as a reminder how far I have come. Because if you are scrolling back to my very first few podcast episodes that I recorded for you, I was super uncomfortable in front of the camera. I was super uncomfortable sitting even in front of my microphone in the kitchen in my little condo in Tahoe City. And I would re-record episodes over and over and over again because I wasn't happy with how they sounded and what I said. And I really questioned myself a lot. And if this is the skill that I learned over the last 5 years, is that I can trust myself to be a good speaker and a good presenter. And I didn't always have that trust and that confidence. And it did come with the fact that I recorded so many podcast episodes and YouTube videos. So maybe you're going to use that time in order to dive a little bit into my archive and into your own personal development journey. And if you decide to do that, then I want to share 5 episodes with you that I would encourage you to start with. I will I will add the link to the show notes to all of these episodes that I'm going to mention to you now. And I would encourage you to just start with the one that calls the most to you. There is the biggest mistake you make, how to manage stress at work, how to develop discipline, the high achiever's mindset, break limits for extraordinary results. And then finally, a very special podcast episode and interview with one of my favorite people, and also the one that I interviewed the most on the Stress podcast over the last 5 years, Dr. Patrick Porter, who is the founder of BrainTap. And he talks in the podcast episode how to maximize brain function about your beautiful brain. So those are the 5 podcast episodes that I encourage you to listen to over the next 3 months while we take a little break from each other. And I would love to hear from you. Listen, I am not taking this break to take a break from you. I want to keep hearing from you. I want to create the space for you to maybe give you finally some time to catch up on all of the content that I have created. I want to give you this time to go to my YouTube channel or to my Instagram account and say hi and follow me there and leave me a review or leave me a comment on one of the YouTube videos and share with me, what do you really like about this podcast? What is your feedback? What are the things that, as I am going into 2024, that you want me to know and think about? Who are the people that you want me to have on the podcast in the future? You can send me an email. You can do all the things. I do want to hear from you. So see this as a very special personal invitation to connect with me. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear how the Stress podcast helped you in any way or form over the last 5 years. And I celebrate you. I celebrate you for showing up for yourself every single week and to digest this content in order to become a better version of yourself. I know this is not always easy. Trust me, I am doing the same every single day, and I have my ups and downs as well. And that is the journey called life, and we are all here for it. We are all part of this journey, and I love when we can all support each other along the way. So I am taking a break for the next 3 months because I am busy with other areas of my business right now. And because I'm going to travel quite a bit over the next 3 months. And I want to create the space really to be with myself and to see what comes up for me as I'm really getting bored and as I'm really just sitting with new ideas that are bubbling up. And I honestly need a creative break after 5 years, and I want to create space to really reflect on what is gonna come next in 2024. So that's all I want to share with you in today's podcast episode. Thank you so much for being here. This is not a goodbye. This is a see you again soon in 2024. So until then, take good care of yourself. I wish you a wonderful, happy holidays, a happy new year. For those of you that are in the US, I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And I am so excited to hear from all of you. So until then, I'll talk to you soon, and bye-bye.